Batman Beyond, or alternatively called Batman of the Future, was an animated series that was originally broadcasted within the United States of America from 1999 through 2001 for 3 seasons. During this initial broadcasting era, the series was groundbreaking for its futuristic portrayal of Gotham. And even though the series wasn't fully acknowledged or respected during its time, in the years or even decades since the series' unjust cancellation, it's now considered one of the best superhero-themed cartoons of the early 21st century. Due to the short series, many villains would make appearances in the series, but only a few would have multiple appearances in the cartoon. Inque was one of them, as she was depicted or mentioned within 5 episodes, being Blackout, Disappearing Ink, Inkling, The Call Part 1 on Countdown. At the time, Inque was one of the most well-known villainesses in the series, as the origin of Inque was never fully mentioned, but from information seen and hinted at within the episodes. As information had that she had a tumultuous childhood and never knew what it was like to have a stable family and secure financial income. It was hinted at Inque was a teenage mother and the father of her child had left her. To help finance her life as well as care for her new child, she agreed to become a human test subject for an experiment. The experiment was to see if a human could become a literal shapeshifter by using a combination of chemicals, as the organization that had paid Inque to do the procedure was never technically mentioned. But Inque nevertheless survived the procedure and started to use her newfound abilities to become an assassin for hire. Making a living through wet work, Inque became one of the most skilled killers globally and was one of the most wanted criminals through Interpol, as through one assignment she first fought against Terry McGinnis as the Batman of the future, but due to his inexperience is nearly killed in the fight, with an infamous scene where Inque tries to fill him with herself in an attempt to drown him within her own matter, but through circumstances Terry is able to stop her, and as a result Inque was arrested by Gotham authorities. Inque was later imprisoned within a cryogenics branch, where it was deemed too dangerous for her to be left alone, so when she was imprisoned, it was done so within a block of ice. But she was completely aware of her surroundings, and as a result, a staff member assigned to keep her under observation developed an obsession with her. Eventually, his actions led to him being sacked from his job, as he later freed Inque out of revenge. Being encased within ice caused her molecules to be damaged, and needed more chemicals to reconstitute herself. Later betraying her admirer, she regained full control over herself. Deciding to kill Batman, Inque later learned that Terry was receiving advice from Bruce Wayne, as she decided to kill the true Batman, as that was her original assignment in Gotham. Terry was still inexperienced as the new Batman at the time, and Bruce decides to don a cybernetic bat suit and actually fights Inque one more time as Batman. Through circumstances, Inque is once again defeated but flees. After a period of time, Inque once again emerged, but through situations is reunited with her child, a daughter by the given name of Diana Clay. As through the episode, Inque mentioned to her the exact details about why she had to leave her, as further information had that Inque consistently gave her money from her criminal exploits. As tragically it was revealed that Diana had become accustomed to this privileged life from the funds given to her by Inque. And Diana didn't exactly care about her mother at all, as Batman later arrived to fight Inque, as she was heartbroken at the betrayal of her child. Inque later attempted to attack Diana, but Batman stopped her. On near death, Inque asked Diana as to why she would do such a thing, why she would have no compassion towards her. Diana later commented that the only thing that Inque had given her was money, no love, no compassion, or anything else. How was she supposed to have turned out, as Inque died by her own daughter? Later on, Batman spoke with Diana, as it was discovered that Inque hadn't actually died at all, but simply fled, as he mentioned to her that it was probable that Inque might one day return for revenge against her daughter, and that Diana would have to live under the possibility that her mother might come to kill her, as it was revealed that Inque was in the shadows watching the entire conversation between the both of them, as it was considered to be one of the best endings to an episode in the entire series. For the Batman Beyond series, Inque was an exceptionally deep and explained character, as mentioned considered to be one of the best villainesses of the series, as the reasons for her being as such is due to the circumstances that she had to endure. When viewing the series, besides the main characters related to Terry McGinnis, Inque was one of the most important characters depicted in the series. Sometimes a character could be forgotten because a critically acclaimed series wasn't acknowledged during its time, and one of the characters within that series was just as important when compared to others.